All right, today we're going to be working on this Bilt, whatever it is, Mustang XP riding mower, because it has an absolutely roached transmission drive belt. This guy right here, which is not supposed to have that much, slack in it. That's the thing that makes the wheels turn. And the idler that's over here is bottomed out. So, yeah, she toast. Anywho, I've got to get in there and replace that transmission drive belt, and I have no idea how I'm going to do that. It looks like it should be fairly easy to get it over the transmission fans and pulleys back in, wherever it is, up in yonder. These guys right here, that should be fairly easy to get those off. I've already fiddled with the idler and it's easy to get off the idler. The trouble is, I don't know how I'm gonna get over the clutch, which is this fella down here, because it's right up there on that pulley. And I've got to get it all the way around the clutch, which is all fine and good. We can take it off the other three pulleys and then have plenty of room. But there's this right here, and that's welded to the frame up there. And that's, inside of those little ears on the clutch. So I'm gonna have to drop the clutch and disconnect that wire up there simultaneously, just to be able to get this thing around it. And I'm hoping I can just take that bolt off and the whole thing's just spline and it pops right off. And if it doesn't, then I'll cry. Additionally, we have that bar right there, which I may have to pull out. I really hope I don't have to pull that out, but I may have to pull it out and get the clutch out. Just be able to get a belt off. And if that doesn't work, we'll just put some big fucking pliers on there and bend that guy. Or maybe if I'm lucky, one of these bolts up here will take that plate off, but I'm pretty certain it's tack welded to the frame. One of the two. I'll figure it out. In addition to that, I've got two brand new front tires I need to put on there because the original ones went bad and Dad put, lawn tractor turf tires on it, which tear up the grass and keeps the thing from spinning. And the blades are roached, so I'm gonna do blades too, because ain't too horribly bad, but I've cut with a lot worse. But about time. It's about time. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do to this pig, and that should hopefully be the last of the stuff we're gonna do. I'll do an oil change too while I'm in here. That should hopefully be all we need to do to it. Runs great, cuts fine, doesn't bog down. Back wheels just don't turn most of the time, so that's a problem. All right, we got parts in, and it's raining out, so it's a perfect day to work on your mower in your garage. I'm so glad I left room here that I could park this thing in here. So plan is, we've got an oil filter, an air filter, spark plugs, fuel filters. So we're gonna get in there, change on the spark plugs, swap out the fuel filter because might as well, and do an oil change. I got some, leftover 5W30 that I'm not going to use anytime soon, so might as well huck it in this thing. And got a new set of blades. I got some new front tires because these are turf tires and they tear up the grass and the thing doesn't turn very well. So I'd like to have those on there, and hopefully I bought the right size. Bought them like a year and a half ago, so can't return them. And then the big thing is the belt. This is the size belt it is, by the way. As well as I need to get in here and clean up these battery contacts because that's probably why the thing starts like ass. Could potentially maybe have something to do with it. And the big thing that's going to be a bugaboo with this belt is how the hell I am going to get it over this bracket, because the belt is up there. And it has to go through that bracket, which is on that little latch there. And that bracket is spot welded to the frame up there. So yeah, I'm hoping I just take that bolt out and the whole clutch goes like that. And then I just unplug that harness right there and I can just pull the belt off. And my dad actually has the shop manual, PDF, And I looked at that, and it said to change the transmission belt, you loosen the idler, slip it off the idler, and then pull it out, put the new one in, and then put it on the idler. And it makes no mention of this or that harness wire. So that's interesting. Or the fact that you have to take the deck. Actually, I think it does say take the deck belt off. But, you know, yeah. Also, I have to take the deck belt off. Which, if you saw my previous video, is a giant fucking pain in the ass. So that'll be fun. The deck belt has an idler right there, and you have to push that idler in, and then, but when you do that, you can't stick your hand in there because you have to use like a 17-foot crowbar to do it. So you have to slip it off of this idler pulley right here. Oh, wow. That's loose. Probably do something about that. It's not fun. It's never fun. And there's like no clean way to do it. It takes like 2 men and a small boy and a bunch of lube, which usually is never a good thing, but trust me on this one. Yeah. So we're just gonna slowly work our way through all of this. Okay, well, I decided I should probably do a list. So we got all that needs to be done. A couple things that I added where I need to grease all the grease points. These deck rollers are jammed up, so probably should do something about that. Need to clean all the Spanish moss off the wheels and everything. And I think that's it. So I guess I'm gonna do the air filter real quick. That's easy. You just do that, do that, do that, and then you put the new one in. Spark plugs, simple. Wherever they are, there's your boot. Just get a spark plug socket on there, pull it out, check it, make sure nothing looks funny, and the new ones go in. They're gapped to 30 thou. Let's see. Oil change is fairly straightforward. Your filter, well, I guess let's do the fuel filter since we're already here. Here's your fuel filter. Just pull these clamps off, pull it out one side, dump gas everywhere, put the new one in, put it back. Try not to run all the gas out of these lines because it'll take forever to prime, and you might have a hard start coming back up after that. Can you stay over here, please? Taking the battery out is you gotta pull this guy out, and then, which isn't doing anything on mine, and then disconnect those, and then I'll clean those up, and this probably will, no, I think I fixed that, but yeah, and then you just pull it out, clean them up, put them back, check the level of the electrolyte in there and all that jazz. Let's see, oil change. I believe this is the drain hose right here. So you just route this guy like down into here or something where it's out of the way, and then you undo this fitting and all your oil drains out. And oil filter. I don't think I did an oil filter last time, but there's the oil filter. You take it off and it just dumps oil all on top of the spillway. So I would recommend putting a jack over here and jacking the thing up slightly so that it drains into this little sluice and comes out there and just sprays everywhere. But you're gonna need a catch for that. So just get ready to do it. I have no idea what the capacity is on this thing. It should hopefully say it down there on this guy, maybe. But it's a mower. It probably takes, somewhere between 1 and 2 quarts of anywhere between 5W30 and straight 30 weight. 30 weight if you're in Florida or the tropics, 5W30 if you're in Canada, where I am. 10W30 is probably best, but I've got 5W30, so that's what it's getting. And yeah, grease points are on the spindles. I think they might be underneath or something. Yeah, I think I might have to pull the deck off to do that. I have to do the blades anyway, so it's not really going to matter. But 3 spindles. I don't believe any of the idlers have grease points. You have grease points on each one of these rollers. You have them right here on these kingpins or whatever they're called. And then down here on the actual wheel somewhere on one of these sides, on these wheel axles. And I think that's it. For grease points, there might be something on this pivot. Yeah, there's one right there on that pivot there. I think that's it for grease points. Probably gonna pull the deck off to work on it because I have to do the blades anyway. Might as well pull it off. It's always fun. In order to clean those guys out, you just run that bolt out. I don't know if it's captive or not. Of course, it's not captive. It's never captive. Pull those out. Pull the shit off the back of it. put it back on, grease it, and you're good to go. And I think that's a quick rundown. So I'm gonna go knock all those easy things out real quick like, and see if I can get that trans idler. Oh yeah, the way you get the trans idler off is there's a 3/8 slot in that arm right there, which I'm just now noticing is behind the idler. So I wonder if that idler was replaced previously when we took it into the shop. But yeah, you're supposed to stick a 3/8 into that hole right there, and then you can just kind of wriggle on this all you want. Or you just get like a crowbar in here and jam it in here and then pull on this. But anyway, you're trying to relax this spring right here. That's what you're doing. Or if it's super loose like mine is, you can just kind of just push it off of it, which can't really do one-handed. But anyway, that's just, I'm gonna shut up and do some stuff real quick. All right, so I've replaced the air filter, so that's done. Replaced the fuel filter, so that's done. And cleaned up the battery terminals, pulled the battery out, put the battery on charge, cleaned up the bolts, replaced the positive terminal bolt because it was now like a 3/8 when it was supposed to be a 7/16. I have the trans belt off as far as I can get it. You actually don't have to unplug the clutch harness. It loops around it. But I'm still caught on that thingy that I said I was going to get caught on. And I can cut this old belt off, but that doesn't help me get the new one out. I'm in the process of changing the oil. Already drained that, just took the oil filter off. I think it was the factory one, so good thing I'm doing that. But I'm letting that drain down into the frame. And yeah, I looked up the oil spec. It takes exactly 2 quarts, and it says don't use 5W50 unless you're in like Arctic conditions, and I'm not. So I don't have enough 10W30, but I do have a full thing of 10W40 and exactly 1 quart of 5W30. So we're just gonna mix those together, and we'll end up with a, 7.5 by 35 or something. It'll be fine. It's a lawnmower, it doesn't care. Just burn some more oil. Let's see, got the deck off. Idlers. Oh wow, I should probably do something about that. Those are fine. Spindles. That one's probably not got much life in it, but we'll work on that, and we'll work on these. And yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, I did the spark plugs too. Oddly, they were like gapped to like 27 thou for some reason, so I set those to 30 like they're supposed to be. And that's it. Just gonna put just a skosh of oil in that oil filter, and then twist her on there, clean up that, drop her back down, and then we're just gonna dump both of those in there and set and forget. All right, as you can see, got the old oil draining. It looks like we were probably just a hair under half a quart low, but if we check her now, run her on down in there, you'll see that we are in fact perfectly full. It's a good deal. The internet didn't lie to me for once. And yeah, that's the easy stuff done. Now it's onto the deck. Well, I guess doing the blades isn't that hard, and greasing things isn't that hard. It's just really fucking annoying because I hate grease guns. And yeah, I'm gonna keep the battery out until we're done with everything, just because I don't want to just risk shorting anything out while I'm in there screaming and hollering around and playing with that clutch. So I'm going to attempt to drop that clutch. I only need it to come down like that far so that I can slide the belt through there. And then hopefully while we got everything else out of there, we should be able to get that back up in there and snake it. There's not a lot of room up here on the front. On top of these pulleys right here, there is like 1 finger width between the frame and the top of that pulley. It'd be nice if they'd have given, like just a 1/4 inch more or something, but whatever, engineers. So I'm going to attempt to get that clutch off. It's a 5/8 bolt. And should hopefully just be able to put a big old breaker bar on here and just spin the engine over. And maybe if we're lucky, it'll come off. And if not, we'll jack the whole thing up and get the China torque on there and, just snap the head of it off. But we'll see. We're going to make an attempt, and then we're going to work on the deck if I don't die in the process. All right. You may notice the battery's in now, and that's because we're in a touch of a predicament. I went to take this off, and I didn't even put like any torque on it. It started moving, and I went, oh, that's a great / bad sign. And then I realized that's because it's just spinning the crankshaft. This bolt down in here spins freely because, you know, electric clutch. So yeah, I actually had to put the battery back in so that I can turn this to the on position, and it won't start. So don't worry. But I think I'm gonna have to engage this electric clutch so that this pulley is now, oh my God, that's magnetic. So this pulley is locked up. Nope, oh, that's not gonna help me at all in the slightest. Never mind. God, fucking quit, damn it. Oh, shit. Well, I'm gonna have to get a strap wrench up there on that top pulley to hold that pulley in place so that I can then turn that bolt down on there because the crankshaft is locked up. I'm not shoving a shoestring down in there inside the, you know, compression chamber. And I don't have anything to get on the flywheel up here. Well, I guess I can get on that flywheel, but I don't feel like taking all this garbage off. So we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna get the strap wrench out. I hope we can lock that pulley up so that we can take that bolt off so that hopefully the clutch slides down. And if it doesn't slide down, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I cry, I guess. Oh God, that thing's probably splined on there. I probably need a fucking puller. Oh, shit. We might have to get creative, boys. All right, so we had to get creative, but not too creative. We have the old belt out, one piece. As you can see, trash, especially considering it's like 3/4 the width it's supposed to be. And yeah, she's just roasted. I don't know whether there was an underlying issue that caused that or if it's just the fact that it's a 15-year-old belt on a mower I've been beating the piss out of. But anyway, what I had to do was take yonder crowbar and then, hold up, let me get the flash on for you. Take it on in here, jam it. God, this is hard to film. Jam it behind this, wedge it up against the clutch, bend it out of the way, and then once I got it just far enough that it cleared these little ears, move this over to the side, and then you can stick this up in here, and then we're just gonna stick this guy back, and then we're gonna get the crowbar and just bend that back into place so it's in between the ears, and should be good to go. Thankfully, that's not extra reinforced, and also I do know that there are bolts up there. I did see them. I'm not fucking blind. But these bolts up in here mount the engine to the frame. That plate in there is tack welded in like 6 spots to this deck. So you'd have to pull the motor. Actually, you'd have to like decouple the. Well, yeah, you'd have to pull the motor otherwise. So I think it's much easier to just bend that piece of plate a little bit, and then we'll put it back, and then we'll just get a big old breaker bar, and we'll stick it over here like that, hit it with a 3-pound hammer, and just drive it back 1/2 inch. So that, to me, seemed like the easiest solution. So I'm going to attempt to snake this bad boy on here, and we'll see whether or not I die in the process. All right, that wasn't too horribly bad. As you can see, it's on all the pulleys, wherever the heck that one is, back in there somewhere. Anyway, it's back on there. So yeah, really the hardest part is getting it on this idler. I jammed a crowbar in there and just pulled this back, leveraged it off of here, pulled it back as far as it could go, then grabbed a breaker bar and just kind of laid up against the side of this thing, hunched up like that, holding the crowbar in place with one hand while I fished the other hand up in there with the breaker bar to get it on there. If you just had 2 people, it'd be way fucking easier. As long as you trust the guy, because otherwise you're gonna get a mouthful of crowbar. But anywho, that's on there. And if they didn't want you to bend this out of the way, they wouldn't have put this handy little notch right up in here that just lets you jam the crowbar in there and then just push it back into place. So that's all done and back together. Now, all we gotta do is do all the servicing on this deck, grease everything up here, you know, that, and up under there. And then we get to the fun part, which is these tires, and I am not looking forward to that. All right, so as is tradition, when the grease gun comes out everything gets greasy and I start hitting the sauce and swearing a lot more because I fucking hate grease guns. Like, holy shit, something is bound up inside of this hose or something because I'm put piss or shit and grease out between these two fittings. So I just came in. I can't get anything to come out of there. I've still got this much grease left in it. I'm building pressure, but it's blowing grease out of here. So I think a piece of smut's got jammed up in this hose and it's trying to get through here and it's just, everything's fucked. So what I've done is I took the fitting off of this end and then flip-flop this around, and I'm just gonna hook this back up in here and see if I can puke some grease out. And if I can, I'm gonna try and push grease through here. And if I can, then I don't know what the hell the problem is, but there's probably something jammed up in there or inside of this hose, and I'm just trying to reverse flow and see if I can get something done, because holy shit, I didn't even get one Zerk fitting done, and then this son of a bitch failed. And I don't have enough grease left, so I'm gonna have to get back in here again anyway and bleed it and all that shit and put that in there. So anyway, love grease guns. They're awesome. All right, well, that did it. So yeah, well, that was, oh, that's interesting. That just had like a little tiny pee stream a second ago. Huh. Well, anyway, well, that did it. Don't really know what I did. I guess there's just some shit in the line or something, but I'm going to chug the rest of this, and then we're going to grease things. Alrighty, so I managed to grease up that central pivot for the front wheels, as well as these kingpins over here. I got the deck flipped over. I greased up all 3 spindles. They took like 20-something pumps each. They were dry as a bone. And now we have the China torque out. I'm going to pop some ear protection in and boost the gain reduction up on Sony Vegas. And we're going to see if these suckers come off. This is a 1-inch. Ooh, that was not too bad. Not too bad. Only on with about 4 ugga-duggas. Okay, well, that's a little scary. Let's not do that. And, of course, drop that. Yeah, those weren't a problem at all. So we got new Oregon blades. I have 50s. Don't know if these are 50s, but yeah, they look right. Close enough. So we'll swap those suckers out and pull all these Spanish moss out of here. Ooh, look at that. Oh man, that's like fucking, that's like a damn rope main seal right there. Heck yeah. Ooh, I could, you know what? I can make Spanish fucking moss biodegradable, carbon neutral fucking front main seals. Let's get to that. Anyway, we're gonna pull that shit off of there and swap blades out real quick. They just keep on looking to the east. That was a China Grove reference for you Zoomers out there. Anywho, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I'm not even fucking 30. These guys are done. I don't know if I really like these Oregon blades. They're a heck of a lot thinner gauge, which is good for efficiency, but when you basically use the thing like a bush hog like I do, I would much rather have these big fat honking 3/16 blades rather than these little 1/8 blades. It's like gale force winds out there right now. I have a feeling that these aren't even going to last a season before I shred them. So that's good to know. That's probably why they were super cheap, even though they were name brand. Noted for future reference. I probably just put those on there with about 80 foot-pounds. I don't know. I just ugga-dugged it. Probably don't need to go any more than about 60. That should be fine. Now I'm going to pop these off because they don't spin too good. Well, these front ones do, but the back ones don't on account of all the moss. So probably, well, that one can just be greased. Same with that one, but those 2 back ones are going to have to come off. Clean out the spindles, and then we'll grease them. All right, those are all greased up. I had to drive that one out. Well, I took it off, and then I had to drive the actual bolt out with a hammer and then clean it up with a wire wheel. And I swapped it over here to the front because it doesn't look like these front ones get as much abuse. This one back here was just fine. It just had shit clogged in it. And I managed to grease all of them, so now they don't spin as freely because they actually have grease in them. And this one spins much more freely because it actually has grease in it. But anyway, we're gonna flip this over and roll it back over, and I think all we got left is them tires, unless I'm forgetting something. So, great, and it's 5:30 already. I don't want to do that. Anyway, but we're gonna do that. All right, the wheels are off. It's now nearly 7, and we have new tires on here. It was not a problem at all to get the old tires off. They practically came off by hand. Just a little bit of screwdriver action, a little bit of soap, and they slid right off. Had to drive the plastic couplers out of here, and I've cleaned up the rocket chips, and there was a grease fitting snapped off on this one, so I'm just gonna have to pack that side with grease and pray for the best. This one's still intact. Yeah, these were run without grease for quite a long time. Surprisingly, this was the side that had the grease nipple on it, so that's strange. But anywho, took valve stems out, cleaned up those, replaced one bad valve core with an even probably worse valve core, and got these on here. Putting the slot in the first side on, and here's a tip. What you want to do is come in on the tire, and you want to put this side that doesn't have the valve stem down first, because that is shorter and that is longer. And so you push this guy through first, and then this guy will be where it needs to be, and you can take this and chuck it in a vise, and then turn it over, and then take 2 big ass screwdrivers and just work your way around there. And it's a fight, and it takes a lot of strength and several beers, but you eventually get it. So I got both of these on there. I cleaned up the bead with the wire wheel when I had them off. And actually, bead's not all that bad until I gouged the piss out of it with the screwdriver. So I'm gonna stick valve cores back, or actually I'm going to go seat these on the bead, then put valve cores in, although I don't really need to do that so much because it's tractor tires, but still, I digress. Hopefully these seal, and these should hopefully work a little bit better, and we'll just ignore all of that slop in this shaft, and just pretend it's fine, and then we'll stuff some grease in there and call it a day. All right, deck is back on, wheels are back on, wheels are greased, deck belt is on, and yeah, we're done. Guess all I can really do is wait overnight, because I had some pretty significant bead leaks on both of these, so I just put 25 PSI in them, and we'll let them sit. Oh, and I released vented pressure down to 20. So we'll let those sit overnight, and we'll see what they have in the morning. If we're still holding pretty decent PSI, then we'll call it good. If they are still, just deflating on their own, we'll pump a bunch of slime in there just to act as bead sealer. Just because I don't have any bead sealer, but if anything, should hopefully be much better, and hopefully there's not some chronic problem with one of my transmissions that is causing the trans belt to burn to death. So, but anyway, I think we've done everything on the list. No, I did not have to check the list. There's not a jump cut there. What are you talking about? You're insane. Anyway, I digress. I'll let it sit overnight. We'll see whether or not these tires are leaking. If they're still leaking, I'm just going to pump a shit ton of slime in there and then run it around in the yard for a bit. And that should allow that to seal the bead a little bit. And then we should hopefully be done. So I'll take it out and do a little bit of cutting, even though I don't have any more grass to cut. And just see if she's working okie dokie. And then we'll go park her back in the tractor shed to get ate up by rats. All right, it's been about 16 hours. And both front tires held air. They're at about 19 PSI now. I think I put 20 in them, and probably dropped 10 degrees overnight. So we'll call that fine. And the bead leaks finished leaking. It says those tires are good for 40 PSI, so we're just going to leave them at 20. I was going to drop them down to 10, but, these are supposed to just be, spinny wheels. So we'll leave them at 20 for the time being. We'll see how they hold air. If they hold air, then great. We'll drop them back down to 15. They got a little bit of a round to them. Probably don't want that for, the thing to stay straight and narrow. But I don't really care. I got soft dirt out here anyway, so it probably won't really matter. We'll just let them take a flat spot. She's quick. We haven't been this quick in forever. Woo! That was most of my problems, I think. I still have an unbalanced transmission. As you see, these are different lengths. And then when I back it off, still different lengths, but that's on purpose because she spins to the right. Because something's up with the hydrostats. This left one's a little bit more worn. So I had to balance these so that this one bottoms out differently so that I don't just spin in circles. But anyway, I digress. She's perfectly fine now. Fantastic. Let's use the fisheye lens again. All right, back in the shed where you belong. Mower's done. She is gonna sit there now for the rest of her life. And yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, consider giving the video a like. Give her a comment. Tell me anything else you saw wrong with this thing. I've got a tire I need to probably replace, but we're not going to pay attention to that. And if you want to see me work on this thing again, because I'm sure something will break on it here again in the future, although she's been fairly reliable. I think we've done a starter and replaced the deck in the last 15 years, but minor stuff for a mower. And yeah, so if you want to see me work on this thing again, you got to subscribe. So smash the big red button down there. Until next time, I'm out.